Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a guide to normal and heroic difficulty Mistress Sass'zine in the Tomb of Sargeras. She's a fishy lady with a bunch of fishy friends, and she represents a pretty big difficulty jump in the raid. This is a 3-phase fight. If you have a cleave spec, or AoE legendary, or multi-target equipment set, now is the time to whip it out. Hydra shot will happen throughout the whole fight. She'll mark players with an arrow, and they'll have this lime green hose connecting them to the boss. Players need to get into that line between the marked player and the boss to help soak the Hydra shot damage. Burden of Pain is the tank swap mechanic. She'll put Burden of Pain on a tank, which gives them a bit of a dot and causes them to share all of their physical damage taken with the whole raid. The other tank needs to take the boss right away when that goes out so your raid doesn't get cleaved down. This will continue throughout the fight. From the Abyss summons eels. Everyone loves a good eel. They spawn 3 at a time, and they do shadow damage rather than physical, so it's cool for the Burden of Pain tank to take them. When they die, they drop goo. Don't stand in the goo, but you'll need it later, so it's totally fine to kill the eels in the middle. Your raid leader may call for more or less damage on the eels to try and time their deaths to make sure that you have the goo when you need it. So Hydra Shot, Burden of Pain, and eels will happen through the whole fight. The next 3 abilities are specific to Phase 1. Slicing tornadoes will come across the arena, and these are not good for your skin. The eel goo from before will remove tornadoes, so watch where they're coming from and then position yourself behind the goo to pass through the gap. If there's no goo, you're going to need some cooldowns and probably better planning. Consuming Hunger summons a Murloc who hops on your back for hugs. He's kinda toothy, so he'll do damage for as long as he's attached. On normal, he'll fall off after a bit and need to be cleaved down with the other ads. On heroic, he's stuck up there until you zap him off with a jellyfish. Thundering Shock is what summons the jellyfish. They're giant and obvious and have a big blue ring around them. After a few seconds, they'll stun everyone in their circle with a Thundering Shock. On normal, never stand in these. On heroic, never stand in these unless you have a Consuming Hunger Murloc. If you currently have Consuming Hunger, you can stand in the jelly, the shock will remove your Murloc, and healers can then dispel your stun. Murlocs, tornadoes, and jellyfish will continue until Mistress Sass'zine reaches 70% health. Then, those 3 take a break and it's time for Phase 2. In Phase 2, she's bringing out the big fish. Devouring Maw will suck players across the room. Ink will be falling in purple globs throughout this whole phase. You need to pick up an ink by running over it and then run it to the outer circle to feed it to the fishy. After he eats 3, he gets grossed out and leaves for a bit to go brush his teeth. Be careful not to run all the way into the Devouring Maw. That's a good way to get eaten and you will die. Crashing Wave will cover a wide middle strip of the room with a crashing wave. Get to the edges to dodge the big fish and then carry on. When the boss reaches 40% health, Phase 3 starts. This phase can be summed up as all of the above. This is a good time to use Lust or Heroism, second pots, cooldowns, and finish the fight before you get overwhelmed. You'll have to deal with every single ability, so the key is to stay calm, do the mechanics, and finish the fight. So that's Mistress Sass'zine. This lady is mean, so don't get discouraged if she takes longer than expected. Thanks for watching! Stay tuned for more Tomb of Sargeras guides, please consider leaving a like if you liked it, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!